So what did Obi-Wan actually do to the aliens in the Cantina fight in Star Wars? We'll tell you. But let's get started with today's video. What are we going to talk about? The Cantina bar scene fight a little closer to kind of explain what actually happened. Because when you watch the film, it's not really clear what happens to each of the aliens that attack Luke. We know one loses an arm, but what happens to the other one? Well, before we get into what actually happens in the movie, let's go back to 1976 and look at the novel Star Wars, written by George Lucas. Really, it's written by Alan Dean Foster, but the book says it's written by George Lucas. So, let's look at the novel. Now, in the novel, there's no names given for the aliens that bully Luke. So, we're going to have to assume by the description who is who. So, let's go to the Cantina. Now, before I get started, let me point out that I don't have an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, I do, but it's behind glass. General Madine's going to be playing the part of Obi-Wan Kenobi. My Luke Skywalker is also on the glass, so we're going to use Bespin Luke for Luke Skywalker. Walrus Man, of course, is the Walrus Man action figure, and Poonface will be playing the part of Dr. Evazan, Dr. Uglyface, being that Kenner didn't make a figure of him. So, let's establish who is who according to the novel. Of course, we know that's Obi-Wan and that's Luke. That's easy. But what about the aliens? According to the novel, the first alien was a short human. So we're going to assume that that means Dr. Uglyface. The other alien described is a rodent figure. Now, Walrus Man doesn't really look like a rodent. I'll give you that. Stand up there. But he's the closest thing we have. So we're going to assume that this was Rodent Man. What some may not know is there's actually a third alien that picked a fight with Luke in this game. And who was he? Well, again, he's not named in the novel. However, in the book, he's described as a bulky monster creature. Now, I know Hammerhead's not bulky, but we're going to use him for this scene anyway. So, now that we established who is who in the Cantina, let's put them back at the bar. Now, it's a quiet Saturday night at the local Cantina bar, and three alien friends are about to hit on some women and get some drinks when this beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed Luke Skywalker, fresh off the farm, comes into the Cantina and starts getting all the attention. This upsets the creatures, who normally pick a fight with Luke, being they want all the attention. So we know the fight breaks out when Walrus Man comes up and pushes Luke Skywalker, sending him across onto the floor of the Cantina. This upsets Obi-Wan Kenobi, who pulls out his laser sword, or lightsaber. The first thing we know is that one of the creatures yells, and it's this guy here, Dr. Uglyface. He yells, but his yells are cut short. He falls prone against the bar. I'm not really sure what falling prone against a bar means, so I looked it up. It means face down. So we know he's laying face down on the bar. But also, as he's laying there on the bar, he's looking at the floor, where he sees his cut off arm. So Dr. Uglyface loses the arm. In the movie, it's Walrus Man. So what happens to the rodent creature or Walrus Man? Obi-Wan uses his lightsaber to cut him down the middle. And he falls apart like a peeled banana. Oh, gruesome. Obi-Wan also does this to the other creature, cuts him down straight down the center. Before he splits in two and falls apart, his blaster goes off, shooting a nearby door. And then he peels apart and lays on the floor dead. So that's what happened in the novel. Dr. Uglyface loses his arm, Walrus Man and the other creature are split down the center. Ugh, gruesome. But let's look at the shooting script, or the fourth draft of the script from 1976 to get an insight of what happened at the bar there. Let me reset the Cantina. So we're back at the Cantina on a Friday night. The alien boys are there to enjoy their time when the beautiful Luke Skywalker just shows up unannounced. This again upsets them, but as we did in the novel, we have to look back at who is who in this scene. In the actual script, there's no Walrus Man given, but we do know of a multi-eyed creature that starts talking to Luke Skywalker, so we can assume the multi-eyed creature is Walrus Man. And then described in the script, a short human who we know as, get out of there, Dr. Uglyface guy. So now we have Walrus Man and Dr. Uglyface established. But yes, according to the script, there's a third alien, just like the novel. Now this one here is not described as a monster, but a rodent. Kind of like Walrus Man was described in the novel. and he's going to be playing the part of Hammerhead again. So, let's establish who we have at the scene. We have Obi-Wan and Luke just trying to enjoy their Saturday night. We have Walrus Man here, a multi-eye creature according to the script. We have a short human, Dr. Uglyface, and we have Hammerhead playing the part of the rodent. So let's put the rodent creature here, the Dr. Uglyface guy there, and we'll put Walrus Man back at the bar. So now, what actually happens according to the script? Well, we know Walrus Man gets upset watching Luke Skywalker drink his appletini and shoves him to the ground below. This is when everything goes crazy. What happens next? Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber, causing Walrus Man to pull out his chrome laser pistol. Doing so causes the bartender to yell, "No blasters, no blasters." In a flash, an arm is seen laying on the floor. It doesn't say in the script whose arm this is. In the movie, it's Walrus Man, but I believe reading the script that arm belongs to Dr. Uglyface. So let's put him laying against the bar. So what happens to the other two? It says that the rodent creature is cut in two, and I'm guessing he is cut at the waist, having half of his body fall down and maybe his legs just standing there. And what happens to Walrus Man? Well, according to the script, Obi-Wan uses his saber to cut him down the center, from the chin all the way down to the gonads. Then he falls in two, one half going one way and one half going the other way. Very gruesome if you ask me. So that's how it happened in the script. But what exactly happened in the movie? Let's reset and take a look at the movie. It's Saturday night again at the cantina and the aliens are back. And this time, in the movie, we can lose Hammerhead as he's not one of the rodent creatures. And there's only 2 bullies in this scene in the movie. Now to speed up to where we are, of course we all know, Walrus Man comes up, says he doesn't like Luke Skywalker, shoves him down to the ground below. That, of course, is when Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber. But what exactly happens then? It's so fast in the film, it's hard to really see what's going on. We know Walrus Man loses his arm because we see it laying on the ground. What happens to the doctor? Well, that's not really clear. It does look like he gets cut, but we can't really tell where. According to canon, he gets cut across the chest, but it's not a life-threatening cut. He goes on to continue his evil life, and Walrus Man limps away with one arm. The two leave the bar. And, as always, canon has to make everything boring, so they have to give them a whole long story. But to me, I like it better in the book or the script where the 2 are killed, or the 3 are killed. But let's take a closer look at Walrus Man. Now, I know the arm pushing Luke Skywalker and the arm laying on the floor is different, but trust me, it's Walrus Man's arm. You can tell by the clothes. But did you know Walrus Man almost lost his head? Thanks to these behind-the-scenes photos, we can see there was actually a plan to show Walrus Man's head laying by his arm in the cantina fight scene. What happened? Well, I can't really confirm why this didn't take place in the film, but the legend is that Lucas saw this and thought it was a little too over the top, too violent for the film. It was cut out and just Walrus Man's arm is seen laying on the ground. But as you can see from the photos, a head was gonna lay there. So that's a look at the bar fight scene from Star Wars. When you read the novel or the script, it's a real gruesome scene. I don't remember anyone in Star Wars, at least in the movie, being cut with a lightsaber straight down the middle, splitting a person in half. Ugh, that might be a little too much for a PG-13 Star Wars, but I kind of would like to see it. I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you learned something about the bar fight, and I hope you also learned that you don't pick a fight with a blonde-haired, blue-eyed young boy in a bar, because it's going to lead to an old jealous man striking you down with his lightsaber. Thank you for watching. We'll be back very soon with another video.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.